Gravedigger.
Hi, Zizaran here, and for today's video, I wanted to make a bingo chart of the absolute bestest of bestest things ever that I think should be on a to-do list for GDD to make the game the bestest it can bestest be. So, first off, buff Essence Drain. It's always a bit of a shame that Essence Drain isn't the strongest skill in the game right now, and it doesn't quite feel right. Chaos Dot that isn't poison just hasn't been in the place that it deserves. Vortex should be auto-casting on your feet whenever you are moving. This shouldn't need automation. It should also get like a 50 to 60% AoE, and it just deserves to be a lot larger. And it would be cool if without free stance, it froze all the enemies as well. Buff Gladiator, it's been in such a bad state for such a long time right now that maybe it should get a little bit of back pay. So honestly, just make one of the nodes 100% block attacks and spells, and that, you know, Gladiator should just feel really strong for at least 1 or 2 leagues, and then you can nerf this back down slightly to like 90% in a later patch. Righteous Fire has been too strong for some time now, so I think maybe for a league or two, this should instead heal monsters and just damage players. And then, you know, maybe it won't be used quite as much as what we're seeing. Pox has just been playing this build too much, and how often has your favorite skill been nerfed and you're looking there at Righteous Fire still dealing damage? And is that really fair? Now, I think we're all thinking, well, what about melee, Zizaran? And I've written down a lot of different things that would be very good about melee. Right now, it is quite balanced if you buff it with a large amount. How about, first off, we start by remove the mana cost from melee. Does it really need it? The big problem with melee is, well, would you rather have a knife or would you rather have a gun? So unless you artificially make melee stronger, well, it's probably just always going to be better. So how about we up the damage of all melee tagged skills by 4 times so that it's at least a little bit more damage than ranged. And to keep it really interesting, we make a durability system. So after roughly 2,000 attacks, your weapon breaks and you have to find a new one. This makes melee a really fun and engaging mechanic where you have to get a new weapon now and again. Like, imagine how interesting it would be if you're fighting Cyrus, your weapon breaks, and you pull out an even more powerful one from your inventory, and you just kill the boss even faster. Now, a lot of people have been asking for inventory additions, and I think we should have a compromise here. GGG really likes RNG and things not being deterministic. So give us a rucksack that's half the size of the inventory. However, there's a 50-50 chance that whatever you put in disappears. So you can put things in there and have a bigger inventory, but at what cost? Now, trading is too complicated in the game right now. And a large part of that is just that the trade site can be hard to navigate, and I think we need to turn to the community. GDD should be looking at paying people a living wage to perform things like this, of being an actual auctioneer, and I think there are loads of people in the community that would really enjoy this. This way we could have a regular auction where people can go and sell their items, and we can have a quick explanation of what the items do, and these people can have a great job empowering the community with a simpler and easier trading of seeing one item at a time, instead of the trade site being so complicated and showing up to 100 items at a time. More community events is always a good thing, but what fun is it if the same person always wins? I am of course talking about Ben. Well, I've worked out a solution, and I was thinking, per Path of Exile race that you win in future events, you have 1 limb less. So the first race you win, you lose your right arm. The second, you lose your left arm. They just get tied behind your back and you're not allowed to use them. And eventually it'll be more and more difficult for these people, opening up the race to a whole new part of the community that have never been able to win and feel great before. Now, this is a little bit of a more controversial one, but the streamer client has not been getting updated the last 2 leagues, so it is still giving us gear that was relevant for the 2 leagues ago, and the little like the dude that listens to our streams, and if we're asking for something like, oh my god, I need a mirror, etc., sometimes I've been getting mirrored items instead, and if I'm asking for like, I'm exalting an item, I'm going like, please hit life, please hit life.
I'm Mark Roberts, game director on Path of Exile.
I mean, I could just
I'm not sure what's going on today, boys, but the RNG is it's just real nice today.
Sometimes it is only hitting 50 or 60 life instead of tier 1. So I know this isn't relevant to everybody watching right now, but streamers are so valuable for the game and it wouldn't really have any success without us. So it's a little bit annoying that I can't get the items that I've been asking for. And this is something that when I signed the contract, it was supposed to be getting updated every league. And the fact that we're getting items from 2 leagues ago, very frustrating. Like, I still find Impulsa. Another thing that would be great would be something like paid subscription tiers for better loot. So that if you paid for like the gold subscription, you just wouldn't see the like 3 or 4 lowest tiers of items. This is kind of similar to how blocking works in Acropolis. So we already know that this is something that could be in the game. Imagine how much more worth my time would be if I would only find good loot. Now, auto-looting pets would be a great feature where they would loot things for me, and maybe I could have like an auto blacksmith where it would also craft for me. Crafting can be really hard and I don't always understand it, so just having these features that I could buy would just be great to have in the game. It's been really annoying seeing some streamers have widescreen on, and it's just really weird to look at, and I don't like the bar at the bottom of the screen. And I think as punishment, these streamers should perhaps be made to play with an even more narrow, just to make up for, think about the amount of extra screens that they have seen. So maybe for the next 2 leagues, they're allowed to see 30% less to each side so that they make up for all the extra space that they have seen. GGG should also start collaborating more with very popular shows like One Piece, Naruto, Suits, and House MD. I think there would be some really cool crossovers here, which, you know, imagine if you could look like Dr. House or Naruto in Path of Exile. Something like the Naruto run would be so easy to do in Path of Exile, and I think it would be going very well over with the audience. And finally, different options between a Chris Wilson, Mark, or Jonathan body pillow. Another thing that doesn't really make sense in Path of Exile right now is that ranged is so strong, and a way to balance that out a little bit would be arrows, especially ones you have to manually fletch in your hideout, so that there could be like a fun little crafting system. Think similar to lockpicking in Skyrim, where you have to like, you know, like do a little thing with your cursor, draw on an arrow, and actually make arrows. And this would be a really fun interactive way to balance out ranged and melee for once and for all. So actually needing ranged and also having like a cap of only 500 per map, so you could have to go back to your hideout and get more really cool interaction there. So obviously this was a 1st of April video. It's gonna be really fucking interesting reading the comments on this one. This is not an idea I thought up. My editor just left me with a big script of weird shit to say, and I was like, okay. And he's like, but it's a 1st of April video, so it'll be fine. Don't take this part out of the video or you're fired. Really, yeah, I hope you guys like it. I don't usually make 1st of April videos, so it's a spicy one. Thanks for watching the entire way through the video, including the disclaimer at the end. Sub if you still like my channel, and try to die less than I do.